So I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I would call myself a Resident Evil fan. Not a huge fan. I haven't played all of the entries so far. I have only played RE2 Remake, RE3 Remake. Horrible game, by the way. I played the original RE4 about 10 times, and I have platinumed the RE4 Remake twice. Once on the PS5 version and once on the PS4 version. I also played RE7. I haven't played RE8 yet. Yeah, yada yada yada. So I am familiar with the series. And I personally really like RE9. I actually think it was pretty good. It isn't perfect. It does have some issues. It could have improved in some areas. But I did like the game. And like many, once I was done with the game, once I beat Insanity Mode, I could not wait for Capcom to drop what I thought would be Mercenary. So you can imagine my surprise when the new bonus mode gets announced and it turns out to be this, the trailer you're watching right now, Leon Must Die Forever. Now, I'm not like these people that once they see what they don't want, they instantly just shit on it and just hate, because I was fairly intrigued. It looked mostly interesting. While the roguelike genre has been a bit spammed over the last few years, I do think it is still a very good component for gameplay, and I do like when it is done right. So I was interested. I was a little bit disappointed from the get-go, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I was like, you know what, might as well try it and see how it goes. So that is exactly what I did. I booted it up and I was greeted by this weird and confusing ass map, which, if you know ball, might remind you of the Dead Ops arcade map, which immediately gave me some mixed feelings. I was like, you know, it's reminding me of a thing that I like, but it is also very weird and not something I would associate with Resident Evil at all. But let's be honest, my feelings on the matter don't really matter. So let's actually get into the gameplay and talk about what the mode has to offer. Like I mentioned before, this game is a roguelite, or like however you want to mention it. I think light is the actual correct term, but anyways, I'm ranting. The mode starts off always in the main street, which is the first level you play in the game as Leon, which if you couldn't notice from the trailer, you only play as Leon in this mode. The whole point of this mode is basically running through different types of areas throughout the game in which you mainly play as Leon, and you have to kill zombies to earn these little points for this collector that you have, which will allow you to purchase upgrade. This is a term and this is a thing that you would be very familiar with if you played any roguelikes before, but that's basically the main thing. Throughout the main levels, you will find these weapon cases that give you random weapons. They are actually random drops. They change every match. However, something weird that kind of struck me as odd for a roguelite is that the main drops inside of the areas themselves don't seem to be randomized. I played about 10 runs, and every time I would go into the care center, there would always be a green herb and some handgun ammo. It seems like the only randomized drops are things from inside bookshelves or, you know, lockers or the weapon crates themselves, which they do seem to affect how you play, since most of them do have tiers. They have these little stars that tell you their strength in a way. But it just seemed a bit weird to me how not everything was randomized. It's only the upgrades to a certain extent and the weapons and certain things you can get from boxes and the like. Now, to be completely fair and honest to the mode, it isn't just the same RE9 gameplay from the story copy-pasted into this roguelite format. There is quite a few things that change inside of this mode. The main thing, and honestly I think this is a negative, I don't like this whatsoever, is that you can't sharpen your axe. The only way you can get back the durability on your axe is by picking up that green type of axe drop that will fully refill it. But again, the issue is that if you can't find them, you will run out, you won't have an axe to use, no parries, no melee attacks, which is a huge nerf to Leon. If you've played RE9, you know what I'm talking about. Talking about something positive though, there is the upgrade system. Now, to be fair, most of these upgrades are the usual kind of upgrades you would see in a roguelite. Things like 10% more damage with shotguns and melee attacks, that type of thing. But there is every now and then a slightly more interesting type of upgrade, like the burning melee attack, where whenever you kick a zombie, they will light a flame, which is pretty cool to see, and it is mildly useful. There is also this like legendary rarity for some upgrades, which I haven't seen all of them, but I know some of them have to do with the Requiem and stuff like that, but I won't really get into it. But even then, compared to a lot of other roguelite modes and games, these upgrades are just not enough, I would say, to just pour hundreds, well, not really hundreds, but tens of hours into the mode. It's just not enough for me. Maybe for somebody else it is, but yeah, I feel like it's slightly disappointing. The game doesn't even give you anything new to fight aside from the main mode. All you get is just zombies and some of the bosses from the main game. But when it comes to zombies, the only slight difference they added is the blue and red zombie. The blue zombie, all it does is just, you have to parry him. If you don't parry him, you do very little damage. If you parry him, you can do more damage for a little time, which is exactly as boring as it sounds. And like I mentioned before, if you don't have an axe and you haven't found an axe drop, well, good fucking luck. You better have a shit ton of ammo. And the other one is a red zombie, which only takes damage from melee attacks. That's it. Also extremely boring. They also aren't common. It's not like they're putting a lot of the combat encounters to mix up how it goes. No, they just show up like 2 or 3 times in a whole level. And the good thing is that those special zombies do drop like usually guns and stuff you can use and really interesting stuff, but they're just not interesting to fight whatsoever. It's just a weird modifier. The game doesn't give you any newer content if you were expecting that, so I'm sorry on that. So now that I explained to you the mechanics, or I guess the main mechanics of the mode itself, let's talk about what the goal is. Like almost every roguelike that exists out there, there is an end to the mode. And the end to the mode is just getting to Gideon. If you pay attention to the map I showed you at the beginning, or you've probably seen multiple times throughout this video, there are multiple ways to get to Gideon, but he is always the end goal. It's kind of like finishing the game in a speedrun type of manner. I guess that's what they were going for. But yeah, you always start at the main street and you always end at Gideon. Now, Gideon itself, if you played Insanity, you probably know how hard he can be in the harder difficulties, but he's not really all that difficult. My first playthrough, actually, I did get to Gideon, and I ended up dying because I ran out of ammo. I ran out of ammo, and I had no more hatchet durability, and that caused me to die, which, needless to say, pissed me the fuck off, but you know, I can admit when I am not being mindful of my resources, and this is a Resident Evil game, so I should always be mindful of my resources. Once you beat it, that's it. You just get that little completion screen, and then you unlock the next difficulty. I think there are 5 ranks, and I lied earlier when I said there is no new content, because there is new content, kind of. The bonus mode has bonus content. Mainly, it's just like different weapons and stuff like that burning hatchet you can drop. And there is also the different accessories for Leon, where he has the wolf, tears and tail, which, not tears, god I'm stupid, wolf, ears and tail, which basically makes it so that the more time you have clocked at the top in that timer, the more damage you do. There is also the Turbo GT, Leon's car strapped to his head, there is the police lights on his head, and then there is the Axorcist, which I don't know what they do, to be honest. I only know the wolf one, but I just frankly don't care enough. I do know that each one starts with their own loadout and specific guns and stuff. I know the Axorcist only starts with the axe, and I think the whole gimmick of the Axorcist is just that it's basically a melee run. I do like how they look. I wish and I hope there is a way to wear them in the story. I haven't checked yet, but it would be cool to have them in the main game. But that is about it. It's just a thing you probably grind once to get all the difficulties, get all the accessories, all the bonus content to make it easier for the next runs. And that's really all there is to it, unfortunately. My final verdict on Leon Must Die Forever is that it's honestly just underwhelming. It is a cool idea, admittedly, and it does have some substance to it. But I feel like the gameplay itself is not replayable or unique enough to play for hours and hours. To this day, I still log back in, well, I guess not log back in, but I boot up RE4 and RE4 Remake and RE5 just to play some Mercenaries matches because it is so fun. The variety in characters, in the stuff you can do. Like, God, you don't know how bad I wanted to play as Xeno in this game. I still want to hold out hope that one day Capcom will add Mercenaries to this game, but I don't know. I feel like I got done dirty, me and quite a few others, because I know I'm not alone in this opinion. And I just hope Capcom realizes how important Mercenaries is to the brand of Resident Evil and how much potential it had to be in this game. Again, this isn't a bad mode. You could probably have quite a few hours of fun with it, but it's just not what I and many others wanted. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you have a great day, and yeah, love you guys.